Hi guys, I'm Lakshmi from the Instagram account An Indian Girl's Journey. I'm a physician from India and I have recently matched into an internal medicine program in the United States. Today's video is gonna be about something really basic. I will be briefly giving you guys an introduction to USMLE and residency in the United States. And these are the things that I wish I knew when I started out, but I didn't, and I had to attain these information through different ways. So I'm just gonna be directing this to people who are very new to the process and just wanna start out. USMLE or United States Medical Licensing Examination are the set of exams that you have to take to be able to practice as a licensed physician in the United States. Now, something to note is that even medical students in the American medical schools have to take these exams, and they do that during their medical school curriculum. And so it's actually a fair way for them to make sure that all the doctors that they have working here meet a certain level of standard. Now, coming to the exam, USMLE is actually not a single step exam. There are three steps to it. We have step 1, step 2, and step 3. And if you're really technical about it, it's actually a 4-part exam because the step 2 exam is a 2-part exam. We have step 2 CK and step 2 CS. So let's take a rewind and I'll talk briefly about each of the steps. The step 1 exam is a basic science exam, and it's a really important exam to do well on. And step 2 CK covers the clinical subjects, and it's also another multiple choice question exam that you give on the computer. And step 2 CS is a clinical skills examination which you give in person, and where you examine multiple patients and take history and type down the patient notes and stuff like that. So once you take these two exams, you become ECFMG certified, and that is when you can actually apply to programs. And the step 3 exam is not really mandatory to give before you apply for residency, but a lot of people do take it, and it's really important if you want a H1 visa to practice in the United States. The step 3 exam is a little different, where it actually assesses some of the basic science subjects as well, and most of it is actually the clinical subjects. And this is a 2-day exam. So I know all of these things sound really confusing, and it's a lot to wrap your head around these things. But to know more information about this, you can log on to usmle.org, and they have provided detailed information about each of the steps. Another thing that not a lot of people know is that even if you have a super specialization in your own country, without a residency or fellowship in the United States, you cannot work in the US. So you could be a very senior professor in your country, but without the USMLE exams, you're nothing in the US other than a basic doctor. So any experience you have had beyond your medical school is just considered work experience, and it kind of helps to show that you are very interested in medicine or a certain specialty, but other than that, they will not consider it as a degree. So to practice as a physician in the US, you need to have residency and fellowship, or just residency in the United States, irrespective of the fact that you have already done your residency elsewhere. Now, the next piece of information that I want to share with you guys is that the residency that you do in the United States does not have a tuition fee. So all the expenses that people talk about when it comes to residency is to get into residency. And once you get in, you get paid and you do not have to pay any course fee. This is something that was really new to me as well. And this is a misconception I had, because I always assumed that, I'm going to have to pay really high fees to study here. That is not the case, unlike in our home countries. So that's a really good thing about the process. The next thing to keep in mind is that the visa process in the US is not a very easy or simple thing. It's one of the most complicated processes that I've heard of, and it's really not easy to work here. So obviously it's not impossible, but it's not a piece of cake either. And if you're not a citizen of the US, or if you don't have a green card, you need to have some sort of visa to work here or to even enter here. So that's something to really keep in mind. There are multiple categories of visas that we need to know about as IMGs, and I'm hoping to make a separate video detailing all these categories at a later time. Now, one thing that's really unique about USMLE is the fact that the number of attempts that you make on each exam really counts for something. So, I'm from India and we have an exam called NEET to get into residency in India. And if you take the exam a certain year and you don't do great on it, you fail it, or you do terribly on it, you can take it again the next year with really good preparation, and the previous thing is not considered at all. And if you get a great rank the next time, you're in and you're okay. But when it comes to USMLE, if you take the exam and you fail it, that failure stays on your CV. And there are a lot of programs who don't call people who have failed on any of the exams at least once. So that's another thing. And there's also this thing where if you take the exam, any of the steps, and you got a really bad score, but you passed, you cannot retake the exam for 7 years. So you're stuck with that score. Even if it's a terrible score, you cannot do anything about it. And that's something that's really sad about the whole process. Another thing that I really want to share with you guys today is that there are a lot of specialties available to do your residency in the US. And I would categorize them into easy, intermediate, and tough. So some specialties are such that it's pretty easy to get in, but obviously not everyone gets in, but it's still relatively easier. And then there are some specialties that are decent, and if you do the good work, you can relatively still get in. And there are some tough specialties that are really difficult to get in. I'm saying difficult but not impossible. Obviously every year there are some IMGs who manage to defy the odds and make it, but you would have to put in a lot of hard work and show a lot of commitment towards it to get in. The relatively easier ones to get into would be specialties like pathology, family medicine, pediatrics, internal medicine, etc. And in the intermediate category, I would probably place things like anesthesia or OBGYN. And in the really tough category, I would place specialties like plastic surgery or even surgery maybe, and dermatology. So these are the specialties where IMGs do have a tough time getting into, but again, it's not totally impossible. The next way in which I would like to compare my own home country residency with USMLE would be when it comes to the scores. Now with Indian residency, if you get a rank, that's all there is about it and you get the seat. But when it comes to getting a spot in the US, it's not all about the scores. The USMLE scores are one thing where they assess you, but there are so many other things that they look into, and it's not that if you get an amazing score, you're in, or if you get a terrible score, you're out. But at the end of the day, since scores are something that you start working on at the initial stages, it's always advisable to get the best scores that you can possibly get. And then if you don't exactly get that, you can try to fix it with other things on your CV. There are a lot of things that they assess when it comes to residency in the United States. Obviously, scores are one of the most important things, but there are also other things like how much work experience you have, how much research you have done, how much hands-on clinical experience you have in the United States, what kind of letters you have received, what kind of personal statement you have uploaded, and how your personality is and stuff like that. So there are a lot of factors that come into play, and it really helps to focus on a lot of those things instead of just focusing down on the scores. And even after you have focused on all of those things, once you apply in the September of each year, there is still a lot more stuff to do. I mean, once you apply, you get called for interviews, and a lot depends on how you perform on the interview day. And this is something that a lot of people struggle with. They have amazing applications, they have a great CV, they have great scores, but on the interview day, they don't really make a good impression, and then they don't really match. So that's another step to be well aware of before you start out. But if you are a very social person and you're really good at making a good impression, it will definitely work in your favor. And even if you don't have as great a CV or as great scores as the other applicants who interview along with you, you're going to have an advantage over them because of your interpersonal skills and maybe command over your language. I have briefly given an idea on the multiple aspects that go into securing a position in a residency program in the United States, but I still want to say that it's totally not a black and white thing. There's a lot of gray area. I mean, you can tick all the right boxes and sometimes just not match, and sometimes you can tick very few boxes and still match. So it's not that you have a bad score, you're not going to match, or you have a great score and you're definitely going to match. So there's a lot of uncertainty around it. It's not a clear cut thing like I got a certain rank, so obviously I'm going to get a seat. It's not like that, and which is a nice and a bad thing about the process. And the timeline from when you start working towards it and till you achieve what you wanted is usually very long, but I feel that it's totally worth it, and it can really pay off once you secure a position and can work as a physician in the United States after securing the right training. So the whole infrastructure, the facilities, the salary, everything is pretty competitive in the US, and you would be in a really good position once you do all these things and jump through all these hoops. What I have attempted to do in this video is definitely not to give a comprehensive idea about the whole process, because I don't think it's possible to do that in a video as long as 6 hours, because it's really complicated. There's a lot of things to it and it would be pretty cumbersome. But I hope that with the next couple of videos that I'll be posting and just my posts on Instagram, you would get a better idea of how things work and how you too can get into residency in the United States. So that's all for today, you guys. I hope you liked this video and that it helped you in some way. If you have any recommendations for future videos, please leave them in the comment section. I would love to hear more from you all. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at An Indian Girl's Journey. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.